and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be cooking salmon, and I'll kind of explain why I have the full salmon fillet just chilling here. Hey, you don't eat crackers. You're not a parrot. Sorry, my dog decided that he was going to try to eat crackers, so had to stop that. But anyway, so I have a full salmon fillet here tonight, and I'm going to show you how to basically break it down, scale it out to where you can do individual packaging. I buy a full salmon fillet because I think it's cheaper, and plus I know how to do this, so that's kind of why I do it. But anyway, first thing that you want to do is if you have a pair of tweezers or anything that is pretty good at plucking stuff out. Oliver, stop trying to eat the potatoes, baby. They're not for you. Not everything in this house is for you. You gotta remind them of that sometimes. All right, so anyway, back to what we were doing. I'm just gonna run my fingers along here to see if I can feel any bones. If not, don't need the tweezers. And it feels like it's pretty clean, which is surprising because I don't normally get a salmon fillet that's this clean, but whatever. Anyway, I have the individual quart-size Ziploc bags. I use those, so after I portion out my salmon into individual fillets, I do that, and then I package them up and put them in the freezer, and then whenever I am getting ready for my meal prep the week before or Sunday, because we all know I'm that crazy person that decides that they want to go grocery shopping on a Sunday after all the church people get out of church. Don't do it. It's not good. But anyway, I digress. I'm actually probably going to move you in a little bit closer so that way you guys can see how I actually get this salmon fillet all cleaned up and measure it out and everything. Also, you need to, in order to do this, I always use wood cutting boards because if you watch Alton Brown's series Good Eats, you'll know that he goes through like the different types of cutting boards that there are. There's like wood, glass, plastic, and I think that's it. But there's different types of wood and there's different types of plastic. Don't buy. Jeez, again, I can't talk today. Don't buy a glass cutting board. And if you go and watch the series, you'll learn that the reason being is because glass cutting boards will dull your knives super quick, and that's normally, dull knives is what causes you to get your finger cut open like me. Don't do it. It's not fun. It'll happen though, probably, if you're cooking and if you consistently cook. But anyway, I don't know how you live. So, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull you up closer. We're gonna show you how to clean this up. And then mine still has the skin on it. I'm gonna take that skin off because I know how. And I don't know, I thought it'd be kind of cool for you guys to see this because I don't know who else really knows how to do this. And heck, I got this whole entire thing for like 17 bucks. So if I'm spending $17 on this big freaking fillet and then I get like 4 or 5 different meals out of it, it's probably gonna be 4 because my boyfriend likes really big chunks of salmon fillets whenever I make them. But that's not the point. But yeah, so I'll get like 4 dinners out of that. Out of this whole entire fillet for $17, and to me that's not a really bad price. Salmon is normally pretty expensive, but it's also very high in omega-3 fatty acids, and it's a really good source of protein, so it's a really good fish to eat and to cook and everything, and it's super easy to cook too. So I mean, there's that as well. But I'm gonna pull you up a little bit. I'm sure that's not the most flattering camera angle. It's fine. Gonna tilt you down, and then I'm gonna go around and check the camera angle to see how it is. Because I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, that's actually pretty good. I didn't expect it to turn out that well. Okay, cool. So we're just gonna dive right into this. Now, you're gonna get your cutting board, put your salmon fillet on your cutting board. I use my same trick. Obviously I use a little bit more force, so that's why it like slid around like that, but you know, it's fine. You're gonna take I use a boning knife. You can use a boning knife, fillet knife, any like long and skinny knife to do this whole entire process. But the first thing you're gonna wanna do is there's this line right here where like this extra like thin piece of skin is, like down where it's like belly and its intestines and stuff were. But we're just gonna take your knife and run it along there and get that little piece off, because it's not good. Like, it is good and it's like good meat to have, but it's really kind of not even worth having on your salmon fillet, because there's not a whole lot of meat, and like this is all fat right here, this part. So you don't really want to eat that. And I'm just gonna do the Food Network move and set that in the sink. So if you're right-handed, which I am not, you'll take your knife and you'll do this the opposite. You'll do it this way, the way that I currently have it. I'm left-handed, so I have to flip this bad boy around. Check on this. Yep. See, it still seems all pretty good. I triple, quadruple check myself when it comes to like making sure that the bones and everything are out of here, because if you've ever gone to somewhere when you've actually like ate fish and you know you found a fish bone, it kind of like just turns you off at the fish, and it's just not good. And then also you can choke on it, which is also not good. But what you're gonna do, I'm gonna try to scooch down a little bit more there, buddy. Don't worry, I cleaned my counters. I'll clean it again after I do this. But you're gonna start at the thinner end down here, more to where like the actual tail fin was. What you're gonna do is you're gonna need a little bit of this back end, so that way you can grab onto it and clean off the skin on the underside. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take into it at like a 45-degree angle to where you can actually get to the skin. And then I lift up, place my knife down at an angle, and just start rocking back and forth. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna get most of your meat off of the actual skin without losing a lot of it. Now, this is slippery. If you don't like the smell of fish, I strongly suggest you just go ahead, and if you're gonna make salmon, just go and get it already pre-cut. And sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties right now. Oh no, there's some still on there. Dang it, that didn't work out the way I thought it would. It normally turns out so well. But this is normally, ignore this part, but this is normally what you're left with. This is, I don't know, some chefs don't like it, some chefs do. It just all depends on who the person is. Like, you can keep it on there. It's not gonna change the flavor or anything of the fish. It's just part of how the fish is made and the anatomy and all that fun jazz. So I'm trying to go in and clean this back up, since I didn't do a great job at cleaning my fish. And just gonna kind of rock my knife back and forth, doing nice, slow, even strokes, so that way I can make sure, like I said earlier, I'm not taking off too much of the actual meat from the skin. All you're wanting to do is just to separate it. So we got that all done, almost. I don't suggest doing it this way. It happens though. Sometimes, you know, we're not all like the best. Like I said from the very beginning, I think I said it at the very, very beginning, I am not a professional chef by any means. I just like to cook. And you know, it's a lot of fun. And if you get like fresh produce and you like to experiment with food, and you know, you're doing all this stuff with cooking and seeing what, you know, flavor profiles you got going on with different like textures and stuff like that, it becomes fun. It really does. So now I got my salmon fillet covered in scales. Fantastic. Gonna try to clean that off a little bit. Gonna have to take the trash out tonight because this smells a little bit fishy. Sorry, that was bad. That was terrible. All right, so now I got my little scale. I have it covered in plastic wrap because that's just what I do, because I know that it will help clean up and everything, and I don't have to like sit there and scrub off my scale and all that. But you're gonna want to get, I think it's 4 ounces per fillet. So like this bottom end where it's really thin, you're gonna want to do a really big chunk. And it's okay if it's not exactly, oh, I still got it. Sorry. That was exactly 4 ounces. That was awesome. Oh, 4.2. Oh, get on my level. Okay. Sorry, I haven't done this in a while, and I'm getting excited because I am getting back in the groove of things. Because I've been doing this for a couple weeks. And since I live with my boyfriend now, I decided that I was gonna start, you know, trying to cook more, which kind of is what led to, you know, me doing this whole YouTube thing, which is kind of cool. And it's just kind of fun to get back in the kitchen and experiment with different foods and all that. Like, I never realized how much I actually missed it until I was sitting there and I started like doing like random stuff like this. So this is an extra, it's like 2 ounces, I think 2.5 ounces is the like little bit extra that I got. So if anything, I'll just throw it in with like another couple pieces and make that for my boyfriend. So that way I'll have to listen to him complain, probably with that little guy. And then he can have as much salmon as his heart desires. Or I can just save it for later, because then, all right, so I lied. We got like 2, 4, we got 3 meals going on here. So, my bad. I did get a smaller salmon fillet, so it just, sometimes they don't always like come out the way you think they're going to, and you don't get as much as you thought, but it's still good. You still get more than if you were gonna go to, you know, like Red Lobster or something like that, and they want to charge you like an arm and a leg for a salmon fillet and some okay rice pilaf and some salad that you can make at home, and it's just, you know, simple things like that. To each their own. It's whatever. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set my salmon fillets here on my scale real quick, clean off my cutting board, and then I'll be right back, and then we can start doing the actual like food prep for the dinner that I'm gonna be making tonight. All right, so I'm back, and as I was moving my camera, aka my phone, around, I realized that I didn't record the last part that I just recorded or spent time doing, which is fantastic. So I'm just gonna have to walk you guys through what I did and kind of go from there. I'm really upset about this right now. I'm so sorry. So I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. If you can see it, you probably can. And then I took 3 potatoes that I already like washed to get most of the dirt and stuff off of it, and sliced it up. Put some seasonings on it. Put whatever seasonings you want on it. I put ranch powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and stuff like that. And then I put little tabs of butter throughout the whole pan. I'm really, really salty right now, no pun intended, about the fact that I literally spent all that time trying to like record this like video for you, and it didn't even record. I don't like my phone right now. Okay, I have to like double check now to make sure I'm like still recording. But so upset. So upset. I'm gonna grab my other pan from my lovely pan spot. If you ever notice like in cooking shows and stuff that they have the handles facing out and like away, is because if you have it like this and say like this burner's on, that's gonna be hot and you're gonna burn yourself. So it's just a little bit of common sense, I guess. I don't know. Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm really upset about this. But I have my zucchini, squash, and then I have mushrooms that I'm gonna be cooking as well. I'm probably gonna get all this stuff started first because my vegetables will take a little bit longer to cook than what my meat will. This pan I'm gonna save for my meat because it's gonna be better to baste with since it has a little bit of a lip on it. And we're obviously gonna be basting in butter. But as far as my seasonings go for my salmon, I put salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and dill. I just think that it gives it a nice fresh flavor with the dill, and I will show you my other little trick here in a little bit as to what else I'm gonna be doing with it. Let me go grab a lemon, because that is one of the important things about doing this. Oh goodness, get out of there. Why are you all tangled up? Oh, and now my refrigerator won't close. Fantastic. Okay, so I have 1 lemon. I'm gonna use this with my salmon. The reason why I make sure that I have a lemon is because I've done this recipe with and without lemon, and it's just the lemon like gives it like that extra little oomph that it needs. So I'm gonna turn on my burner for this one, and we're gonna start getting that preheated. I'm probably gonna put some olive oil in there because olive oil is good. I love using that thing because it makes me feel so fancy. But we're gonna get this started, and then I'm gonna wait a little bit to get my salmon going. I just use this pre-packaged like sliced mushrooms because it's easy, and why not use something that makes our lives easier? So if you can see it, I think you can from the camera angle. No, you can't. There's our salmon. It has all of our seasonings and stuff on it. So move you back over here so you can see the cooking going on, because that's the important part. I got my potatoes cooking, and I'm waiting for my pan to heat up, and we'll start getting all that stuff ready to go. Put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. Olive oil is good, just to kind of like give it like a non-sticky texture, I guess you can call it. But I'm gonna pull my garlic powder, my salt and pepper over here. So one thing about mushrooms, if you do actually decide to cook with mushrooms, is they're like a sponge, basically. Whatever flavor you put in here is what it's gonna absorb. So, and also they're gonna cook down a lot. So you need to, I kind of use a lot when I'm cooking with them. But that's just me. You can do what you want. You can not use mushrooms. If you choose not to use mushrooms, you can still do this the same way. It's just kind of, you know, scale back on the amount of butter being used and all the other goodness that goes into this lovely pan I got going on right here. All right, so I can tell that the pan's nice and hot because it's starting to sizzle and starting to bubble a little bit. I'm just gonna put my mushrooms in. I'm probably gonna use about half a container. That is a big freaking mushroom, guys. I'm just gonna break that big guy up a little bit. So that's going. I used half a zucchini and half a squash, so pretty much like all of my recipes, I use like half of like whatever vegetable I have, and then I have enough to make something else later on. And I have 2 of it, so it's not that bad. With my non-stick skillets, I try not to use any like metal to go on them because that can take that coating, that non-stick coating off of there, and you don't want that. So I like to use wood stuff. That's just my personal preference. You can use what you want. Then you're gonna add some salt. Be generous with it because you're gonna be adding more stuff into it later. I can always tell when mushrooms start cooking because I get this like, I think it's a little bit of a sweet smell to it. But I mean, I know not everyone likes mushrooms, like I said, so do what you want. And then trying to break some of these big guys down a little bit, like holy crap. They found like the largest mushrooms that they possibly could to slice and put into these containers. And then I like to just like kind of mix it around a little bit so that way it gets like a nice like crunchy texture on it. And then, like I said, these things are sponges. So it's gonna look like I'm using a lot of butter, and I kind of am, but at the same time, like these are just gonna absorb that flavor, and it's just gonna make it taste really, really good. And it also helps get like that nice like sear like crust on it, where it's like brown and caramelized, like that one, getting to that caramelized state. I totally made a mistake though when I put on my grandma sweater, because now actually standing in front of the pan and cooking, I am burning up. But what I'm gonna do is kind of like cook our mushrooms, and I'm constantly kind of like stirring them and mixing them around a little bit, just because like I don't want them to sit in one place and get burnt. Because no one likes burnt food unless you're one of those weirdos that loves burnt marshmallows. Then I don't trust you. Because why would you eat a burnt marshmallow? So we got that. We got it all mixed up. And this looks pretty good for right now. I'm probably going to set these aside. Well, after I cook all my vegetables and everything. But then I'm just gonna add in the zucchini and the squash. The reason why I add the mushrooms first is because it takes them longer to cook than what it does for the zucchini and the squash. Even though they're kind of like a starchier vegetable, they don't take as long to cook, and they're pretty good, especially when you like incorporate it with all this. Just kind of give it a stir, make sure it doesn't like get stuck to the pan. I mean, it shouldn't get stuck to the pan because you have a non-stick freaking skillet. But you know, add a little bit more salt. And if you guys think I'm using way too much salt, like, you guys should see the amount of salt that gets used in restaurants. And the reason why they do it is because the saltier the food, the more beverages you drink, and especially like in higher, like fancier restaurants or whatever, where like you actually have like a dress code, they want you to eat more stuff that's heavily salted because it makes you buy more drinks. So salt makes you drink more, and then if you're drinking while you're sitting there eating, then it's gonna make you want to buy more drinks and want to buy more drinks. So that's why they kind of like really salt everything. I mean, it tastes good, by the way. Like, it's not bad at all. But that's a little trick that I learned when I was working in one of the restaurants that I worked at. This looks like it's getting to the point where I'm probably going to take it off the heat, set it off in the back, turn my burner off, and let that kind of continue cooking on the heat in the back. Kind of mix it around a little bit. And the reason why I don't continuously cook it sometimes is because that residual heat from the pan is going to continue to cook your food, whether you have it directly on the heat or not. But now it's time for the good part. We're gonna put our salmon. So I figured out, so this is a brand new pan. I'm kind of playing with it right now. I'm trying to figure out how much oil goes in it and everything, because not a lot of oil needs to go in this bad boy. It is pretty good. But you got this going over here. Also, I haven't even set this yet on any of my videos that I've recorded so far. Thank you so much to everyone who has watched my videos, who has liked and subscribed to my videos so far. I appreciate all of you. And I really hope that some of you guys like actually do like get to use some of these recipes and, you know, think they're good and, you know, kind of play with your food a little bit more. That is not hot enough. Bree, what are you doing? But again, if you actually do, if you're new to my channel, actually, and you kind of like what you're seeing right now, just like and subscribe, and then comment down below on some of the things that you would like to see. Because I am all about trying to figure out what else that I would like to make, because I have no idea half the time. And it's kind of like a toss-up. It's like, oh, do I feel like cooking this tonight, or do I feel like cooking it all? So it's a pretty fun way for me to kind of get out of like the same monotonous routines. Why? That's why. I'm dumb. So I didn't turn my heat up high enough. I had it on like medium low instead of like medium heat. So we're gonna take that off again because Bree doesn't know what she's doing right now. And I'm gonna let my pan heat up more than what it already is. And once it gets all heated up, then I will be able to put my salmon on, and I will get that nice sear crust that I got on my back strap from last night. And I'm sorry I'm posting videos like back to back. It's just, you cook like every day for the most part. Like, you cook pretty much every day, and you have to eat every day because that's part of being alive. And so it's like, if I'm gonna be cooking, why not just go ahead and record this for you guys? I'm already doing it, so there it goes. That's that nice sizzle that I was looking for. So it's like, I'm already doing it. Why not go ahead and, you know, film me doing it? And like I said, I really hope this helps some of you guys, you know, like those of you who are not as experienced with cooking or just kind of like figuring out like how to like do some things when it comes to cooking. This is the whole reason why I did this. Like, I know that when I was younger, I didn't have like a whole lot of experience cooking, and I kind of wish that I had learned more as I went. My aunt, she used to always make cookies with me when I was younger, and I miss her to death. She passed away a couple years ago. It was really sucky, but it was one of the things that I always remembered, is like being able to stand there and, you know, cook, bake cookies with her. And I was probably 5 or 6 at the time, and I was standing there rolling out the cookie dough and having a good old time. And that's just like some little things that like sometimes you just like can't get unless you actually experience it. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of shaking my pan to move my salmon a little bit so that way it doesn't stick. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to sear it on both sides, and then once everything's done, I'll plate it up and we can get you a picture so that way you can see everything. Salmon doesn't take very long. The great thing about fish is on the sides, you can actually see how done it is. So before I actually go and continue cooking this, I want to just give you a little like tip. On the side, I normally let it cook about halfway up. I won't turn it, I won't flip it, I won't do anything until it's about halfway cooked and I can physically see that it is halfway cooked. Then I will flip it over and cook the other half. And that's basically all I have to do until I can see that the other half is pretty much cooked. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to baste it in butter. Take 1 lemon, roll it so that way you can get the juices flowing in it. That way you don't have to like squeeze it as hard and try to beat it into submission. And then once I baste it in butter, I'm just going to pour some lemon juice on it, make sure to catch the seeds, and then let it sit, plate it up, and there you go. But again, thank you guys so much for coming to my channel and liking and subscribing. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I just want to help some people out. Like if you don't know really, you know, how to do this or how to like cook certain things, like hopefully this like is informational, and you know, you guys get to not go out to eat as much and you can like make tasty things at home, because that's kind of what I like to do. But again, thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.